Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Zuckerberg has done it once again. Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call them, has introduced a new feature in which you will be able to pay $11 or $15 a month to be able to verify yourself across their main applications, Instagram and Facebook. Now, I think this is a genius move for Meta, and I want to talk in this video about my logic for why I think this is such a brilliant move. And I really don't see how this can go wrong for Facebook. So, top line thesis, he copied Elon, just like he copied Evan Spiegel at Snapchat, just like he, copied MySpace and Friendster, and basically every other social network that existed before he came up with Facebook. Obviously, there were unique differences, but we know Zucks copies. I mean, they even copied Be Real to an extent. They copied Clubhouse. They copy a lot of companies, but they copy better than everybody else. And they copied Twitter's verification program, where Elon Musk says for $8 a month, $11 a month, you can get verified. And we have all these host of amenities that we give to you as a result of being verified. Facebook copied this because Elon basically said it was cool to do so. And as a result of this, I believe it only proves my macro hypothesis around content, which is what I want to get into now. I think there's 5 platforms that run the world: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And TikTok, we'll see how long it's going to run the world, as long as it doesn't get banned, but nonetheless, it runs the world for now. There are 5 platforms that control, call it 4.3 billion people's attention. There's going to be another 3 billion people coming online over the next decade. And it might be even quicker than the next decade based on how quickly broadband internet gets better, Starlink potentially connecting more consumers online, which means all of those people are going to set up Twitter accounts, going to set up YouTube accounts, going to set up Facebook accounts. They're going to want to express themselves creatively. They're going to want to consume content from other people, which is why I'm so bullish on content creation in general. But think about this. 5 platforms controlling close to 6 to 7 billion people's ideas and thoughts over the next decade. To me, what this argues for is 2 things. Number 1, there have to be more platforms, which is why I'm building one in the background. And my bull case is that there are so many different people that want to get discovered that they're going to have to use a different platform that offers an attention arbitrage, which means underpriced attention, which means attention that is cheaper than posting on the bigger platforms, because the bigger platforms are just too crowded. So I think new platforms will win. But second of all, on the existing platforms, how do you stand out? You got to stand out. And if a verification check is one of the ways to get you to stand out, but you have to pay a little bit more for, it's a no-brainer, especially if you're a small business. $12 a month, $144 a year. It's a business expense. It doesn't even matter at that point. It's a marketing expense. If you're an influencer, you're a brand, I mean, paying $12 a month to get potentially thousands of dollars of reach increasement is very important. So it just makes a lot of sense. In our hyper noisy attention economy, what matters is distribution. What matters is if people see you. What matters is if you show up in people's feeds. And if you don't show up in people's feeds, if people don't see you, you have to pay for advertising. And if you don't have money for advertising, which, you know, the biggest brands in the world are already spending money on advertising, so you're gonna have to beat them if you're going to try to compete on an advertising level, then you're screwed, right? Then, like, who's gonna actually care about you? Who's gonna actually find your content? Who's gonna see who you are? The only reason you guys know who I am is because one day I popped up in your feed, or I popped up on a Twitter feed, and blah 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 blah, and there was some type of centralized mechanism that controlled the distribution of my content to you, and you consumed it, and you decided that you would stick along. And that process of discovery doesn't happen that easily. I mean, it's actually a much more complex process than people would think of, and the platform is really in control of how that process happens. So if you are verified and it gives you increased distribution and reach, it's a no-brainer. Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram, came out yesterday and said that you will have increased reach in search, in recommendations, in the explore page, and in basically like the feed, the comments, all these different places where your name would pop up more because you are verified. He also says that you would be able to deal with people who are impersonating you. So now, instead of getting rid of the spam bots, basically Facebook's like, hey, you can actually pay to get rid of the spam bots, because that's an increased cost that we have to have. For Facebook, from a business perspective, it makes the most sense in the world because they have way more demand than they could be asking for. They have 3.7 billion people using their apps monthly, 1.99 something using Instagram and Facebook per month. You got about 1.93 billion a day. I mean, like, when you have that many people using your products every single day that all are looking for distribution, reach, discovery, etc., then you've got the leverage. You control the platform. You control the gates to attention. And if you control the gates to attention, you can do a lot of things with that. And we've seen platforms do horrible things with that when it comes to censorship and with all the Twitter files that have been released. But nonetheless, you've got more demand. Facebook, let's say it has 2 billion MAUs on Instagram and Facebook, Instagram and Facebook. Let's take 5% of them, or 10% of them, so 200 million people that would pay for this. That's $12 a month, 200 million people. That's $2.4 billion in a year. And if you take 5% of that, then it's 1.2 billion. Like I don't know a business that's coming up with 1.2 billion overnight. Like that's overnight with 95% margins. I mean, the only cost they would have would be extra employees to kind of to deal with the content moderation of if like people complaining about impersonators and stuff like that. But they're already cutting employees, so they could just give that job to someone else that's already existing. So literally $1 billion more in revenue overnight, and that's assuming only 5% of people pay for this. One could argue that 10, 15, maybe even 20% of people pay for it. I mean, I know these are kind of crazy assumptions, but just imagine as the world gets bigger and more people start to use the products, that people start to use these, and they pay for the verification. So I think if you're a Meta shareholder, this is an absolute steal. This makes all the sense in the world. Meta is only getting stronger and stronger with their AI recommendations. Instagram Reels is growing like a beast. TikTok might get banned, which means Instagram has all the potential in the world to succeed. Facebook Reels are growing quite nicely. AI-based recommendations are only getting stronger, which is the basis for how content is discovered, because TikTok kind of changed the social graph to the interest graph. So what matters is when you pop up into that feed, do you have credibility? Do people like you? Do people consume your content? Do they want to consume future content? Do they want to subscribe to who you are as a creator? And really, the only thing that one of the only things that can make the difference between that is like, are you verified or not? Like when you just being verified kind of gives you some more credibility, even if you're not really that credible of a person. So I don't know what this means for the future of celebrities and influencers, because now Kim Kardashian is going to be verified like I'm verified, which means like, is it really like, is it a big deal if Kim Kardashian is verified anymore? But what I do know is that from a business perspective, it makes no sense to only give the verification to people that have quote unquote earned it, but rather give it to someone who's paying you $144 a year. Like $144 a year is a lot of money. Like there are certain SaaS businesses that literally survive off that $12 a month subscription. You're paying it to Facebook for pure marketing. It makes a lot of sense to me at the end of the day for them to be able to do it. So great decision by Facebook. I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube rolls this out. Would not be surprised if Snapchat potentially rolls this out, even though Snapchat's always been anti this like celebrity culture, so I doubt they would be able to do it. LinkedIn, definitely as a business, like definitely businesses would want to see more verified on LinkedIn. So I think this is very possible, and it's all possible because of Elon Musk. He gave Zucks the idea, Zucks stole it, and now Zucks probably going to build $1 billion business overnight with this idea. Let me know your thoughts. Would you pay for this? Do you think it's a good idea? And is there any world in which somehow Elon Musk clowns Zucks for stealing this idea, which we know he stole it from Elon, but that'd be funny to see Elon if he clowns Zucks for doing this. All right, thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I'll see you next time.